Good morning, Abundant Life Church. This is Pastor Chris, and today we're going to be wrapping up our look at Romans chapter 10, verses 14 down through 21. We've been talking about the idea, the question really, of why God's chosen people rejected the gospel of Jesus. It wasn't that they didn't hear it, they did. It wasn't that they didn't understand it, they did. They just decided we don't need being saved from our sins. The gospel wasn't what we were expecting, therefore, he must not be the Messiah. You see, the problem is the gospel cannot just be heard, it can't just be understood, it has to be responded to. You have to wonder if there was another reason why some didn't come to Jesus. If they did hear, if they did understand, there had to be some who realized that they did need saving, but they also knew that if they came to Jesus, it would mean they would have to give up too much. It would mean that they would have to change. That's hard to do. It meant realizing the law wouldn't save you. That's a big change. You'd probably be looked down on your family and friends. That's a big change. And coming to Jesus would mean you'd be in a church where there were Gentiles. That was a big issue too. A lot of Jews came to Jesus, but then when Gentiles started showing up, it was like, no, thank you. And they backed away. There's a lot of reasons why people decided no on Jesus. Maybe it was just too much. And so, even though they heard the gospel, even though they understood the gospel, they just couldn't go along with it. Too much was wrapped up in how things were set in their lives. The gospel demanded way too much change from life as they already knew it. One of the most dangerous things about a person's lifestyle is that they may get so wrapped up in it and so wrapped up in the friends they have, so wrapped up in their acquaintances, their connections, that they can't change anymore. They can't make the necessary adjustments to live for Jesus. We think there's too much at stake in the way things are for us right now, so we don't act. It's scary to change. Sometimes we're just comfortable and we don't want to change. But the hard truth is this: the gospel doesn't do you much good if all you do is hear it. You have to respond to it. Remember in the book of James, James's analogy that you're like a guy who, if you know the perfect law, you're like a man who looks into a mirror and then walks away. It's kind of like what he's saying here is if you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you think I'm a disaster, I have bed hair. I remember those days. I have a big zit right here. I remember those days. I haven't brushed my teeth. Uh, my face is dirty. Everything's a mess. You need to do some changing. Does just looking in the mirror change you? No, that just tells you what you need to change. It shows you how to change, but it doesn't do the changing for you. And if you just walk away and go, man, I'm hideous, but I'll be fine, it doesn't work that way. The gospel has to be responded to. The gospel isn't being proclaimed just to be heard like a pretty song. The gospel is God's instructions on how to come to him. It's God's message telling us how to be pulled out of the mire of sin and hopelessness. You have to respond to it. Yes, there are all kinds of reasons to not come to Jesus. He's asking us to change too much. It might mean doing business differently. It might mean giving up some friends. It might mean giving up a lifestyle. It might mean giving up bad habits. It might mean ending a relationship with somebody who's pulling you away from God. It might mean admitting that you need help. And for some people, it might just be too hard. But my question is really this: what are you going to do about it? You've probably already come to Jesus if you're watching these things, but you're probably dealing with people who haven't. And you need to encourage them. You know what? You can make the changes that are needed. You can have the strength to step out on faith like that. I'm going to close with one of my favorite books. C.S. Lewis wrote his famous The Screw Tape Letters years ago. And the Screw Tape Letters, if you're not familiar with it, It's written from the point of view of one demon writing to another demon. And he's coaching this other demon and he's encouraging him. Here's how you've been assigned this guy to keep him away from Jesus. Here's how you go about it. So basically, when you read it, you're just looking at, okay, here's how I shouldn't live my life because this demon is saying this. Yeah, anyways, one of my favorite parts is when he says, you might reach a problem where the person you're assigned to considers Jesus. He has that moment where he's thinking, maybe I should turn my life over to Jesus. Maybe this is the hope I'm looking for. Okay, don't panic when that happens. Instead, just make him go outside. Seriously, just make him go outside. Make him see normal life. Make him see people walking down the street. And he'll go, oh, it was just silly to think about this Jesus. Give him reality. You see, the thing is, if people are focused on Jesus, you got to get their focus somewhere else, according to this demon. And they'll start to think, yeah, that's not an idea worth considering. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You see, too often people talk themselves out of Jesus because there are other considerations, even just the normality of life. What we need to do is encourage people when you hear the gospel, realize it is a call to something great. Don't be afraid. Take that plunge. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.